Okay, so I wanted to do a video on this because it's been on my mind. So when I talk about things that have happened to me in past relationships, like emotional invalidation, this is a phrase I just learned, and when something finally becomes clear and you can articulate it, it's like it's relieving, but also gut wrenching again, just all over again, and yeah. But I want to be clear because this is important. I have a background in behavior analysis, so one of the biggest things that program taught me was that a person is not their behavior. Their behaviors are their behaviors, and we are so much more complex than that. So when I talk about things that have happened to me in relationships, I'm really talking about the behaviors that went on. A person is complex, and there's multiple layers, and all of us. So when you get into a relationship, there's this dynamic, and all the behaviors start to interact and play off of each other. And that's what breaks down a relationship, when the behaviors are not compatible, or the people in the relationship don't know how to adjust their behaviors or tap into better, healthier behaviors. So I'm never going to be one to blame somebody, especially, the people in my life. I don't blame anyone. My exes, I don't blame them. I just understand that they had behaviors that didn't work for me, that I couldn't work with, and maybe a different person enters that relationship with them and can make it work. Every relationship that we have is very unique because that dynamic brings in two people and their energies are very unique. So every relationship that you have with somebody is going to be unique, even if you're the same person, which we never are. But I really wanted to iterate that I will definitely talk about behaviors and experiences, and I will hopefully never, even by accident, place blame on somebody or narrow somebody down to a behavior. So if you ever catch me doing that, just call me out, because I don't want to do that. It's a lot more complicated. So emotional invalidation. This is looks like going to somebody and trying to have a conversation about how you feel about something. Simple. It could be a small thing that happened that involved this person, that this person did this action or somehow involved this person. It could be something big. It doesn't matter the size. It's here's a thing, and I need to talk to you about how I feel about this thing. And that conversation immediately flipping and becoming about that person's feelings and emotions and experience with that thing that you brought. So you brought something to the table, and they're like, oh yeah, let me have this. Let me have an opinion about it. Let me have feelings about it. Let me talk about what my experience is with this thing. And you then become invalidated. That you don't matter. It doesn't matter what your emotions were, what your concern was, what you wanted to talk about, what you wanted to express. There's no response. There's no direct response to what you brought to the table. Your experience with what you brought to the table, your feelings about what you brought to the table. There's no acknowledgement. There's no conversation that involves where you have the space, where you have the mic. And then what happens is, after they flip it, it becomes up to you to manage their emotions and their response and their reaction, their experience. And you're pulled into it because you're in the conversation, you're in that relationship. You did this, you brought this to the table. Well, here, let's talk about it, but we're going to talk about, this other person's experience and perspective and all of that. So that's emotional invalidation, not giving you the space that you just asked for. You literally asked for space, and they took it. They said, oh, great, yeah, let's have some space, and I'm just going to get in there. Oh God, so yeah. And when you're a person like I am, I'm very curious and I'm hopeful. I was, at least in some of the beginnings of my relationships, right? I was very hopeful, very optimistic, had this peppy energy, and um, so I would take these interactions and not really know what to do right away, but then kind of let it go and be like, well, that didn't happen how I wanted it to happen, and something feels off, but I don't know what it is. I couldn't articulate this when it was first happening. When it became a pattern, even later, I had a hard time articulating it. It took me a few therapists to really to pinpoint it. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's not like I let it happen. I was hopeful that it would change. I was trusting that this relationship or any of these types of relationships could evolve better, that we would get better in communicating with each other, and we didn't. So here I am. Okay, that was that. Again, nobody's fault. We have behaviors that we learned to protect ourselves, preserve ourselves, and that takes a lot of self-awareness to understand your own behaviors and a lot of therapy.